Hi, my name is Sahalam bin Sabu. I'm from OUM Coaching Learning Center. Today, I will present subject English for oral communication. Education. Is free education realistic? Education, one of the most critical aspects of human life today. Education allow people to change the life as education would give them qualification that enable them to get a job or position in the market. They would be able to get money from the work that they apply using the academic qualification. In other words, education acts as a life-changing medium for most people, especially those who are in poverty. However, the on education being too expensive, this they had been raised many times around the world. In fact, most of politicians, activists, and the people demanded the respective government to give free education to them. Only one question remains: is it realistic for education to be free? Before we go deeper into the topic, let me explain what is meant by free education. Truthfully, there is no real definition of free education. However, free can be defined as without cost of payment, while education is the process of teaching or learning in school, or the knowledge that you get from this. In other words, free education can be defined as a process where someone being taught on a knowledge in school or universities without having to pay for it. The people will not have to pay for anything when they enter school or universities. This is my view on free education. So, why politicians and activists always try to raise the issue on free education? Does the issue being raised will give them personal gains? Or is it even legal for education to be made free? The answer is yes. According to the United Nations International Human Rights Law, primary education shall be compulsory and free of charge, while secondary and higher education shall be made progressively free of charge. This shows that free education is mentioned in the international human rights law as it is seen as one of the basic needs of a human nowadays. Thus, the international human rights law has been the backup fact, although some of them bring up the free education issue for personal gains, such as getting political mileage in the government. So, is there any country in the world that implements a whole free education system in their country? Yes, there is. That country is a small country in the European continent called Finland. For many years, Finland is not only widely regarded as the best country in terms of education, but they are also famous due to their free education system. What is meant by free education in Finland? In Finland, there are no tuition fee for all the citizens, not only in primary education, but also at secondary in tertiary education. What's better is that Finland can even provide free education to international students where they don't have to pay for tuition fee even they are from other country. Finland show that they are able to provide free education not only to their citizens, but also to the international student. So, does this mean that free education is realistic to be achieved? Not necessary. Although people thought that the Finnish government had given their people a very good life by giving their citizens free education. The Finnish government actually have a high rate of tax being implemented to their people. In other words, the free tuition fee that have been given to the citizen are actually being paid back by the amount of high tax being paid to the government. The high tax acts as a fund for the government to pay the teacher and lecturer salary, as well as the cost of operating the education system as a whole. In other words, what the government of Finland have spent to give free education to the citizen, they get back the amount by implementing high tax. Let us think for a while. It is really possible for any government to give free education without having any side effect, such as having to implement high tech like Finland had done? Almost impossible. It can only be possible if the government have enough reserve, such as hard oil reserve, which can be sold to the other country for a big amount of money. That money then can be used to give free education to the citizens. Logically, we can think that how are we going to pay the books, electricity and water bill for school and universities, and even the salary of the teacher and lecturer if we don't collect tuition fee? This will lead to an overspending by the country, where the expense is more than what the country can generate if they don't have other financial resources. This shows that although free education can be a realistic target for any country, it will be almost impossible for them to implement the free education without any setback to the financial aspect for the country. However, can implement free education in several stages as well as with several terms and conditions. Example, Malaysia had given free education to the citizen at primary and secondary education level. Tuition fee only started to be charged upon tertiary level of education. However, students can be free from tuition fee if they have an excellent performance in academic level by giving them the scholarship. This shows that although a full free education cannot be given, there is a hope that it can be free If you study well and achieve excellent result to get free tuition fee. As a conclusion to my speech, free education is a good thing, especially in reducing the burden of the people. Giving free education already erases one commitment from a family expenses where they do not have to worry about the payment for their children class and lecture. However, implementing free education without having to implement other setback to cover the education expenses in the country remain the only reason why free education will remain an almost unrealistic dream for people in the future. Last but not least, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Thank you.